We spend an absolute fortune securing our software, but what about the people who can change the security rules themselves? Today, we're diving into how to control the control setters.
And really, everything we're talking about today comes back to this one single, powerful question. Who can change the rules that define what must be true? It's not just about the rules themselves, it's about who holds the power to change them.
Okay, so to get our heads around this, let's use an analogy. I want you to think of your company's software system as this massive digital fortress. Now, most places spend all their time and money building up that front gate, making it look totally impenetrable.
So, this main delivery path, that's the official, approved way to get software from a developer out into the world. That's where almost all the security effort goes. It is heavily guarded, packed with scanners, reviews, and all sorts of policies.
Now, in the tech world, we have a name for this front gate. It's your CI/CD pipeline. That's the automated, official process with all the security checks built right in. The guards, the metal detectors, the high walls. It is designed to be super robust.
A fortified front gate sounds pretty great, right? But here's the thing. What is the point of all that security if there are unguarded, secret tunnels leading right into the heart of the castle?
And that right there, that's where we find the real failure mode for most organizations. These unguarded bypass paths. These are the alternate routes people can take to make changes that completely sidestep that heavily fortified main gate we just talked about.
And here's the crucial part. These tunnels, they aren't usually created by some villain in a dark room. They're actually dug out of necessity. You've got an incident, and everyone is screaming, "Ship now." You got to bypass the slow checks. Or you're doing a migration, and the team says, we'll harden it later. These are real, understandable business pressures that end up creating massive structural weaknesses.
This creates a really dangerous situation the source material calls the assurance trap. It's when an auditor, or maybe even your own boss, asks, "Hey, are our critical systems protected?" You can't honestly give a simple yes. The real answer is, well, maybe. It depends on the emergency. It depends on who has admin privileges that day. And that is not a secure position to be in.
So, this brings us right back to our central question. Who are these people with the keys to the secret tunnels? Well, they're the control setters, the privileged users who can literally change the security rules, often when they're under immense pressure. Just think about what this means in the real world. If one of these privileged users can just switch off a required security check because it's inconvenient, or they can just relax the rules that are meant to protect your most critical source code, or, and this is the most dangerous one, they can push code directly into production using one of those secret tunnels. Well, then your security system isn't a fortress at all, is it? It's fragile. It's a house of cards that works perfectly right up until the moment you need it the most, during a crisis. So what's the solution here? We can't just pour concrete into every single secret tunnel. They exist for valid reasons, remember? The answer is governance. It's about putting guards and rules and surveillance on the tunnels themselves.
So the goal isn't to eliminate these paths, but to transform them. Instead of a hidden weakness, a bypass path needs to become a formal, official tool. That means it has to be enforceable, hard to do by accident, governed, approved by the right people, time-bound, it expires automatically, and provable. It creates a crystal-clear digital paper trail. And the source material lays out this awesome 3-step blueprint for getting this done. First up, preventive controls. Shrink the number of people who can even use these bypass paths. Second, create a formal, controlled bypass process for those legitimate emergencies. And third, continuous restoration. You need automated systems that make sure these temporary exceptions don't become permanent, forgotten backdoors.
So when you actually implement this, what does success look like? Well, you move away from what the source calls policy theater, where you have strong rules on paper that everyone ignores in reality, and you move toward actual measurable security.
And you don't just have to feel like it's working. You can prove it by tracking some really concrete metrics. Your bypass rate should be trending down towards 0. The number of expired exceptions should be basically 0. Every single change in production has to map back to a person and an approval. And when the auditors come asking for proof, you can get it for them in minutes, not days or weeks. Look, the whole thing really boils down to this. Without governing these bypass paths, all of your expensive security controls are just strong on paper, but they are completely inconsistent in the real world. This whole approach fixes that fundamental problem.
And that leaves us with one final, and I think really vital question to ask about your own organization.
Is your security a genuine fortress, or is it all just policy theater, waiting for the first real crisis to reveal all those secret tunnels?